Well, reactions are trailing the imposition of a 54 million naira levy by the Imo State government and opposition governorship candidates participating in the governorship election this November. Some observers describe the move as a deliberate attempt aiming to sabotage the campaign activities of opposition candidates. The Coalition United Political Parties presented a document to journalists revealing that the Imo State government required opposition candidates to pay a whopping sum of 54 million naira just to participate in the coming elections campaigns. Stakeholders are asking Governor Hope Uzodinma to reverse the policy. Now, for more on this, I'm now being joined by the National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, Sani. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. First, when that news got to you and your team, what form of faith did you have in its authenticity?
Well, we're actually taken aback because this is the same governor. I remember we had an event, he came and he said this issue came up and he said, no, people can even campaign in his bedroom. It's open. He's not restricting anybody.
He said that?
Yeah, he did. He did. So that's why I say we're taken aback when people say that this is what it is. So in any case, we are going to interact with him to really find out exactly what is the truth about this, because he's a Democrat. He came by way of, I believe, democratic, space, we made available for him to campaign before he became the governor. And there's no reason why he will try to squeeze the space, against others, because democracy is about freedom, of expression, association, movement. And I think I'm not sure that the governor himself is really behind this. I don't know. Like I said, we have not talked to him. We are going to talk to him as IPAC, and we'll get his own version of what is happening, and we will obviously make it known.
The elections are here in November, so perhaps how soon is IPAC likely to meet with the governor just to sort this out?
Oh, he's a phone call away. I mean, even today we had a meeting as IPAC, and we discussed it actually. And so the decision is that we'll talk to him. He's not, he's a member of IPAC, so I'm sure within the next, before the end of the week, definitely we'll get an answer from him.
So how is the campaign going? Because for INEC, you must have seen the EU report, and just a few of those would matter in the coming elections, talking about having a better space for people to campaign. That is why that of Imo should also concern, IPAC, Warri IPAC, and other Nigerians. Let us in on what IPAC has gathered so far in terms of the campaigns in Bayelsa, Imo, and even Kogi State.
Yeah, I believe political parties are very much, in campaign mode. And yes, you will have some of these not so comforting, developments. Like you heard about what happened in Kogi State with the Ayabello, with another party, and this one now, Imo. So these are things that can be accommodated because we can deal with them and then really check some of the excesses, because it's a human nature, Some people, when they're in power, they forget that they have a boundary, beyond which you cannot, go. So that's why you have IPAC, that's why you have INEC, that's why you have the government itself, who have the responsibility to ensure that things work according to the Electoral Act and according to the extant laws. So I believe the activities going on in these three states where we're going to have the off-season elections, will be something that I believe is going to be devoid of violence, because we've had enough of violence. Thank God, the last election, there is a little bit of what you can call, normalcy, as when you compare it to what happened, before this election. So we expect that we are maturing, we are becoming, masters of the game. in ensuring that the normal things are the only thing that take place. You don't take laws into your hands. Yeah. You don't unnecessarily kill somebody. I mean, it's not worth it to sacrifice. I mean, to lose a life. So I believe that those elections. And also, it's also an opportunity for INEC to really step up to the plate because, and like what has happened, INEC has come out that they now have 6 charges against, the obscene act that happened in Adamawa State. The man now is being taken to court, which means INEC is making a statement that we are not going to tolerate, this kind of impunity, disregard for law and order. Which was exhibited by the gentleman that did that, in Adamawa. So INEC is coming out as a responsible, organization, now disciplining its own staff, telling their staff that we cannot tolerate this because it's not good for our image, and so that's why I believe that the 3 elections, 3 states elections we're talking about, INEC is going to really perform in a way that will rekindle, the confidence people have in that organization, and all the things that happened. I think, as human beings and as an organization that is charged with this heavy, huge responsibilities, I'm sure they're going to, rise to the occasion and give Nigerians something that will soothe, will make us feel that okay, at least, we make mistakes and we correct them. So mistakes were made. You mentioned the EU report. Yes, EU report also. EU, they came, they observed, they came out with their own report, which to us in IPAC, we believe is an opinion, which was issued by EU. They had some recommendations. We have identified 6 of them that we believe, we should interrogate, further in order to see how we use them to improve on the electoral processes in the country. So you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. We don't condemn the report. We are taking note of it. We're also taking note of other reports because it's not only EU. There are other foreign bodies that came. AU was there. African Union was there. ECOWAS was there. You have other agencies who also came. They also have their own reports. And these reports, we are collating them, and IPAC will come out with its own position, as to what we believe, we need to do going forward. Because democracy, like we always say, is a journey, and we are at a station now that will enable us to take note of and then assess, analyze, dissect, and then come to conclusions as to what, as a nation, as democratic, constitutional democracy, what we need to do, because it's a process that is governed by laws. It's not just anyhow that you can do whatever you like and get away with it. That's why I like what INEC is doing, today. And of course, people are looking up to the court to come out, with certain things that will rekindle the confidence of people in even the judiciary itself. So it's the jury is still out, on all these things. But I believe that Nigerians will be better for it, at the end of the day.
Now let's jump in and look at some of those key issues which you say IPAC is also looking at, and one of it is the discrimination, which they also thought was also affecting people living with disabilities.
And women.
Yes, and that of women, I'll come back to that of women, because it actually falls within the purview of political parties and not INEC in a way, because they spoke about the low participation of women in politics. Now, perhaps I wanted to pick that off the plate first.
Political parties, you see, we've done what we're expected to do. What are we expected to do? In our constitution, we've made, it a law that we must have certain percentage. In fact, in most parties, it's about 40% that must be occupied by women and youth. So that going forward, they'll have a seat at the table to make policy decisions that will affect them. And you don't expect somebody to now make decisions that will affect them adversely. So that is why parties have created and have inserted that into their constitution, and have gone further to also reduce the amount of money women pay. Women in my party, they don't even pay for nomination fees. They only pay for expression of interest. So as to register that the fact even the woman herself is really interested It's not just that somebody is dragging her because people follow their money. Once you put even 1 naira there, then we know that you are really interested in what you want to do.
But truly speaking, is it really reflective of what we've seen? Speaking of the outcome of this last election.
The next thing, you see, the next thing is that what the parties can do is to make the platform available to you, isn't it? It's the contest where the woman has to show the capacity and what it takes to win. That is outside the purview of the parties.
They do show that capacity. But again, is it enough now for us to ask the question of the readiness or acceptability of the larger population of the Nigerian voters?
Yes, exactly. No,
to accepting the woman.
No, you see, the issue is this. Unless we take it to the level of legislation, where you now say that we must have a percentage of women in the National Assembly, in the State House Assembly, that at least maybe some certain percentage is carved out for them, whether by election or by some kind of methods where women. But I believe that democracy is about allowing people to really express themselves, associate and then be who they want to be, aspire to be who they want to be, not in any way limited. So I think women have come a long way, really. It's only that in the political, cycle or space, it's tougher, tougher in the sense that there's a lot more that is required. And that's why I said I'm happy that the issue of violence, is going down. I'm not saying it's completely absent, but it's reducing, because you guys are focusing on it. The entire international community is focusing on it. Parties are focusing on it, use of money and things like that. So people don't take it, as, for granted now that, I can use money, I can do whatever I like. No. So I think women going forward will have to themselves be able to like themselves. What do I mean? And be able to fight for themselves. Because now we have 50% of the population, being women, isn't it? When you look at the voting community, INEC came out and said about 70% or something like that were youth and women. So men were there, but the people that always come out to vote, the majority, you can even say up to 70%, are women, much more than the youth. So if that's the case, then why are women not, voting for themselves? That's the issue. That's the question that they have to answer themselves. Because like we have said, party can only give you the platform.
Yeah.
And then the rest is for you to now, how do you run with it? What do you do with it? What you do with it is now up to you. It's up to your gender, the demographic, to now show some kind of concern or interest in their own. So, but if that does not happen, party cannot do more than what we are doing. Really, it is up to legislation. If Nigeria is ready to go the way of some other countries where there's legislation, to that effect, fine. But I think if you look at other spheres, women, Nigerian women in particular, they are stars, in the world. Look at UN, you look at World Trade, Organization, look at other organizations, look at even our minister, is now going for EED, executive director in World Bank. We have, our women that have really shown very high quality of performance.
Let's look at another sore point, which is security. And just lately, we've started witnessing some regional skirmishes or upscale of violence. In the southeast, the sit-at-home has actually resulted into the killing of some people. Now, speak to us on how this can be, resolved before the election day, specifically for the one around that region, which is Imo State.
Yeah, you know, a lot of concentric cycles in that place, you know, in the sense of you have the aftermath of the election, general elections, Nigerian election as a whole. You know, there was high expectation that that region was going to, you know, get
Lost.
it, yeah, you know, and then get the leadership of the country itself. So, and then before then, you know, the restiveness. I mean, the issue of secession, you know, which is still there, you know, regardless of how you look at it. So when you look at, that's what I said, when you look at the issue of sensation, the tendency, secession, the aftermath of the elections, which is still there anyway, it hasn't been concluded. And Imo State, you mentioned, if you now remember how the governor came to be, you know, doesn't sit down well with most people in that state. Although that governor, believe you me, he's performing. If about infrastructure development, I mean, I'm sure you have to give it to him. But then, maybe politics transcends that. So it's up to him now. That is one reason why perhaps, like the question you raised about 54 million or something like that, you should have a think, if at all, he is behind it, because it hasn't come out in a way that will tell me that the governor is truly behind, you know, that maybe his handlers or advisors brought out something like that. It is up to him to intervene so that he will be able to now, you know, attract, you know, the sympathy, you know, or love, or, you know, the vote, as the case is now, of his people, you know, because if they see him as such a high-handed approach, you know, to issues of governance, then that may also put off some people. They may not like to associate themselves. So I believe Imo State and the Southeast as a region, really, it's something that maybe the government, you know, will need to do a bit more in ensuring that there is some assurance, you know, subtle way of assuring people, and the leadership in the Southeast itself, you know. I'm talking about Hana Ize now, and such other cultural organizations, you know, they have a lot to do, because they need to now talk to their own people. They need to call them to order, because now, who are you killing? You know, you are killing yourselves. Whose economy are you killing? Your own economy. So end of the day, who suffers more? It's you. You are the one losing. Whereas there are other avenues to really go about, you know, this what you want. You know, if you want secession, there are many ways to do it. You don't have to kill yourself deliberately, you know, and then think that you are pursuing a cause that will help your people. So I believe what is happening there, number one, the people of Hana Ize, you know, I know that Chief Owayamu is somebody that I know is loved by his people, and I'm sure he can talk to his people, you know, that this is not right. You know, it's you know, killing each other, destroying our economy is not the right way to go.
And quickly here, there's also been some pre-election violence in Kogi State.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Kogi State is a hotbed, you know, politically. It has been. And it's something that I believe also will be, because we had cause to write to the police, you know, as IPAC, and we got a response from the police that they are really on top of the situation. And I believe they are on top of the situation, because they know what is happening and they know the way to go about solving it. You know, I just got a letter from the Inspector General of Police, you know, just about 2 days ago or so. You know, so particularly on Kogi, you know, and it was reassuring what they said. So I think, you know, it will, the violence, you know, will go down, I'm sure.
How much of assurance do you have that the police under this new leadership will be able to help in these off-season elections?
Well, I think because it's one of their first outing as far as election management is concerned, and don't forget that they're the lead agency as far as, you know, elections are concerned. So they would definitely like to impress or prove that yes, Mr. President didn't make a mistake, by appointing, the IG as the IG of the police. They definitely want to show something better than what we have, or produce, better results than what we have had before.
And quickly, let's see if we can wrap up on this. And it has to do with having a better, a vibrant political space. Young politicians are all coming into the space. For IPAC, how does it feel when young Nigerians indicate interest in running for political offices?
No, it's good. The future belongs to them, and the future starts today. So if
it must go beyond just a word or a magazine. The future belongs to the
it's like what you really must aspire. The whole world, the trend all over the world is that. Again, it doesn't mean that the youth must be in the number one seat, but particularly because there's a lot more that you can do, even as a minister or as a key staff in a certain, arm of government or things like that. You can. I'm not saying that they should not aspire to be, number one citizen. No, they should aspire, but they can start. From maybe being the governor, senator, House of Assembly members and things like that, and then be appointed by the president, maybe as ministers or something like that. It's a good development because they have the knowledge, that they can connect easily. They have also the stamina more than, and this country. Our economy today needs people with stamina, people that can have staying power to really engage this economy. So we can reconnect with the international, economic space that we play big. We have all that you require. What has been standing between us and that greatness is leadership. We have Asiwaju now, who I believe from the track record of his performance in Lagos and in his businesses, if you want to use that, and his person, I think Nigeria, we are looking forward to something that will really be, we'll be proud of, very soon.
On that note of optimism, I'd like to thank you, Sani. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for that.
Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team. It's goodbye and thanks for watching.